Hello everybody, I'm Michael Feinstein, founder of the Great American Songbook Foundation. Now, this is our archive. This is the nerve center of one of the things that we do that is so important to us. Now, if you look at these shelves, these are library shelves. They're quite amazing. They're light as a feather when you move them, yet they can take tremendous weight. And these shelves compact space, so we are able to store an incredible amount of material here and preserve it in a way that is very important for any archive. Now, what is in this archive? People ask, what is the Great American Songbook Foundation about? Well, we have our educational programs. We have our Songbook Academy. We have our Perfect Harmony programs for people with memory issues that connect all of them, young and old, to American popular music. And another important part of what we do is preserve artifacts, because every artifact tells a story, be it a piece of sheet music, an orchestral arrangement, memorabilia, ephemera, a scrapbook. All of it is an important part of our history, because American popular music mirrors the history of our country. In this music, you can learn incredible things. You could teach a history class just through American popular song. You can teach English classes. You can teach so many different things, because all of this is an important part of our heritage. So we're going to be exploring what is in this archive, and I hope that you enjoy it. So come on in. It's my pleasure to share this time with our amazing archivist, Lisa Lobdell. Lisa is the curator and the person who preserves and organizes all of this. And all of this is extraordinary, but you have chosen some specific things. And these are?
I have. I've pulled some arrangements today.
Arrangements.
Yes, and I'm going to let you talk about that later. But one of the questions that I get a lot from non-musicians is, I tell them we have sheet music and we have arrangements and this and that, and they say, well, what's the difference between sheet music and an arrangement? So I like to tell them that sheet music is a starting point for building something bigger. But the arrangements I pulled today, I've got Alexander's Ragtime Band. It's performed by Faye, and she debuted that in the movie of the same name. Over there, I've got an Andy Williams arrangement of Lida Rose, which was written by Meredith Willson, and we have his papers here. And right in the middle, a song that's close to my heart is Love Me With All Your Heart. And this was originally a Spanish language song that Trini Lopez popularized, called Cuando Caliente el Sol. And I know that because I sang it in Spanish class in high school. Yeah. So, but I pulled here this one. Ray Charles heard that song on a cruise and went back home and gave it some English lyrics, and we have Love Me With All Your Heart. So I'll let you start wherever you'd like and tell us about these arrangements a little bit.
Well, arrangements are also called orchestrations sometimes. Sometimes they're called charts. And they are indeed an expansion of a piece of sheet music created so it can be performed by an ensemble, an instrumental ensemble or a vocal ensemble. In the case of Ray Charles, and he called himself the deaf Ray Charles, so he would be distinguished from the famous pianist and singer Ray Charles, who was blind. Ray had a great sense of humor and made many albums with the Ray Charles Singers, and he did lots of vocal arrangements for radio and television shows and such. And this arrangement of Love Me With All Your Heart was created for an album made by the Ray Charles Singers. Mm-hmm. And it includes all the different parts that were played by the different members of the orchestra, as well as a production part, which was used in the booth. The people who were making the recording used a production part to follow along. And then there's a conductor part, the vocal chart that has the division of all the different parts that the singers will sing. And then there is the full score, which is the original setting, orchestral setting of this arrangement, which was then copied into individual parts that were passed out to the different performers to perform. So all of this is wonderful because it documents not only this particular arrangement, but you can understand the process of how something is built, how something is created. And also there are sometimes changes that are made that are reflected in a score where something is crossed out or they've changed the ending or they've made an adaptation of some sort. And that's an interesting process for a scholar or a musician. And so this is the Ray Charles Singer's arrangement. And then we have this one, which comes from another collection of Sandler and Young, a very famous performing duo, both of whom I knew. And this is their arrangement, which is, as you can see, a smaller pile of music because it was probably created for a live show, a nightclub act perhaps, or it might be incomplete. And sometimes there are parts missing because these were functioning pieces of paper. And when they were passed out, sometimes they would leave behind a piece of music at the gig, or it would be left behind in the recording session. A lot of times when they would finish recording something, they would leave and the janitor would throw away the music because they didn't need it any longer. So that's how we've lost arrangements by Nelson Riddle and Billy May and Joe Lipman and Sid Feller and all these people. So the preservation of these things are so amazing. And one of the things that we love about having this material is that it is our intention to, at some point, create an orchestra and to have the young people who are part of the Songbook Academy to actually perform and recreate some of these arrangements. Because all of this music is so special in that every single song had Lord knows how many arrangements made for it. And so this is, as massive as all this is really only a drop in the bucket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Thanks, Michael. I think that cleared up a lot of questions for people who don't understand the difference.
Well, should we go to this one?
Sure.
Now, this is a heavy folder, isn't it? This is, I'll move this over here, an arrangement, as Lisa mentioned, of Alexander's Ragtime Band. Now, Alice Faye sang Alexander's Ragtime Band in the film of the same name in 1938, made at 20th Century Fox. After that time, in the 1940s, she had a radio show with her husband, Phil Harris. At that point, she was making fewer movies and was predominantly involved in radio. Well, we have in the Foundation collection, about 400 arrangements, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Just from the Alice Faye radio show. So this is the 1940s arrangement of Alexander's Ragtime Band from when Alice Faye sang it on the air. And it has manuscript working materials. It has a pristine copy of the sheet music, which was republished in 1938. The song was introduced by Emma Karras in 1911, and it was sort of the musical shot fired around the world. And then it was reprinted using the original cover for the 1938 movie, and it says Alexander's Ragtime Band, a 20th Century Fox film production, with a picture of Irving Berlin, who liked to include his own face on a lot of his sheet music, and why not? He had deserved it. So it says introduced 1911 by Emma Karras, introduced 1938 by Alice Faye. And so by the time that this arrangement was created for Alice Faye, she was so deeply connected to the song that people often thought of her when they thought of this particular number. And this arrangement has a choir part with the different vocal divisions, and then it has all the other parts that are needed to perform the song. I don't believe that there's a full score for this.
I don't think there is either.
And so if there isn't a full score, sometimes somebody will need to recreate, copy out all these individual parts for violin, for viola, for clarinet, for oboe, and create a new full score in order to be able to conduct it. And often, as an arrangement was made for a radio orchestra that played together every week, week after week after week, sometimes they would write a part specifically for a musician that played in the orchestra, and that's why under bassoon it says Fleming. Now, I don't know the first name of Fleming, but Fleming was this instrumentalist, and this part was earmarked to be played by this particular musician because they knew that they would do something special with this part. And so that's another piece of history that's included in this. Oftentimes, these pieces of music will have pencil markings that will show cuts. And this slash there means that they cut the first bar of the piece for some reason. And this trumpet part shows where they actually, at rehearsal, wrote in 2 bars. So they wrote a new introduction for this song before they played it on the air. So these parts represent the original version plus the new 2-bar introduction that was created for the trumpet. They also, because radio shows had very specific timing, as do television shows, they sometimes would have to make cuts in the arrangement. Oh, we've got to cut 30 seconds, we've got to cut 20 seconds. And this has a cut from bar 49 to bar 89, which probably saved them about 30 seconds of time. One other thing worth pointing out about this particular envelope, this folder, is that there's a note here. There's a couple of notes, actually. It lists the instrumentation of what's in the folder. So you can look at this, and you'll know that this was arranged for a big band with strings. Because there are arrangements for symphony orchestra, which are much larger orchestras, then there's big band, there's combo, there's all different kinds of instrumentation. And so that's interesting. So you can look at this folder, and presuming that this is correct, it tells you what kind of chart it is, what size. And then somebody made a note here. I can't quite make it out, Lisa. Can you? I can't see. A 4-bar intro. Is that what that says, I think?
I think so.
So this is listing other songs that Alice Faye sang. You'll Never Know, A flat, which she sang in a movie called Hello, Frisco, Hello. Blue Skies, which she sang in Alexander's Ragtime Band. And it lists the keys, B flat, which is G minor, then Alexander's Ragtime Band, then extended ending, finale. So this is somebody writing a roadmap of perhaps what they might use in the radio show. So every single arrangement has a lot you can say about it. And I'm sorry I'm so verbose. So.
Hi, I just wanted to take a few minutes and talk about how we preserve the collections that we have here at the Songbook Foundation. We have a variety of materials, and they all take a variety of methods to keep them safe. So for arrangements, if they're small like this one, they just go in a standard acid-free folder and then in an acid-free box. These arrangements, this much larger one, we decided to put in a Tyvek envelope, something that you can find at your local office supply store. Those are archival, and that's how we're handling these larger ones. These, as you can see, aren't in either acid-free or Tyvek because we've just received the collection. So that folder is pretty bad, so we'll be replacing a lot of these and those as well.
Thank you kindly for exploring the archives with us. It was a lot of fun being with you.
To learn more about our preservation efforts, please visit thesongbook.org/archives. We look forward to seeing you again.
See you in the movies.
Bye.